On January 31st, 2013, a 21-year-old Canadian student named Elisa Lam vanished inside Los Angeles' Cecil Hotel. Then her dead body turned up in its water tank. To this day, nobody knows how exactly Elisa Lam died. We know that the 21-year-old Canadian college student was last seen in the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles on January 31st, 2013. But the infamously chilling hotel surveillance video that captured the bizarre final moments before her disappearance, let alone the other details that have emerged since, have only elicited more questions than answers. And ever since her body was discovered in the hotel's water tank on February 19th, her tragic demise has remained shrouded in mystery. On January 26, 2013, Elisa Lam arrived in LA. She had just come by Amtrak train from San Diego and was headed to Santa Cruz as part of her solo trip around the West Coast. The trip was supposed to be a getaway from her studies at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, where she was originally from. Her family had been wary of her traveling by herself, but the young student was determined to go at it alone. As a compromise, Lam made sure to check in with her parents every day of the trip to let them know that she was safe. That's why it struck her parents as unusual when they didn't hear from their daughter on January 31, the day she was scheduled to check out of the Cecil Hotel in LA. The Lams eventually contacted the Los Angeles Police Department. The police searched the premises of the Cecil but couldn't find her. Police soon released surveillance footage taken from the cameras at the Cecil Hotel on their website. This is where things took a turn into the truly bizarre. The hotel video showed Elisa Lam in one of its elevators on the date of her disappearance, acting rather strangely. In the pixelated footage, Lam can be seen stepping into the elevator and pushing all the floor buttons. She steps in and out of the elevator, poking her head out sideways toward the hotel's hallways in between. She peers out of the elevator another few times before stepping out of the elevator entirely. The last minutes of the video show Lam standing by the left side of the door, moving her hands in random gestures. Nobody else was captured on the video except Lam. Public reaction to the inexplicable video crossed all the way to Canada and China, where Lam's family is originally from. The 4-minute video of Lam's strange elevator episode has amassed tens of millions of views. On February 19th, 2 weeks after the video was published by authorities, maintenance worker Santiago Lopez found Elisa Lam's dead body floating in one of the hotel water tanks. Lopez made the discovery after responding to complaints from hotel patrons about low water pressure and a weird taste coming from the tap water. According to a statement by the chief of the Los Angeles Fire Department, the tank in which Lam's body was found had to be drained completely and then cut open from the side to remove her 5'4" frame. Nobody knows how Lam's corpse, floating lifelessly next to the same clothes she wore in the surveillance video, ended up in the hotel's water tank, or who else might have been involved. Hotel staff told authorities that Lam was always seen by herself around the hotel premises. But at least one person did see Lam soon before her death. At a nearby shop, eerily named The Last Bookstore, owner Katie Orphan was among the last to see Elisa Lam alive. Orphan remembered the college student buying books and music for her family back in Vancouver. When the autopsy results for Elisa Lam's case came out, it only served to ignite more questions. The toxicology report confirmed that Lam had consumed a number of medical drugs, likely to be medication for her bipolar disorder. but there were no indications of alcohol or illegal substances in her body. Soon after the toxicology report came out, amateur sleuths began poring over any information they could find in hopes of solving the mystery behind the death of Elisa Lam. For example, one summary of Lam's toxicology report was posted online by a Reddit sleuth with an obvious interest in medicine. The breakdown pointed out 3 key observations. 1. Lam took at least 1 antidepressant that day. 2. Lam had taken her second antidepressant and mood stabilizer recently, but not that day. And 3. Lam had not taken her antipsychotic recently. These conclusions suggested that Lam, who had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression, may have not been taking her medications properly. It is an important finding to note given that the use of antidepressants to treat bipolar disorder can risk inducing manic side effects if done without caution. Some sleuths have understandably latched onto this detail and suggested it was a likely explanation behind Lam's strange behavior in the elevator. Hotel manager Amy Price's statements in court strongly support this theory. During Lam's stay at the Cecil Hotel, Price said that Lam was originally booked in a hostel-style shared room with others. However, complaints of odd behavior from Lam's roommates forced Lam to be moved to a private room by herself. But even if Elisa Lam had been suffering from mental health issues, how did she end up dead? Furthermore, how did she end up in the hotel's water tank? The autopsy did not show any foul play from the evidence that was processed. But the coroner's office noted that they were unable to do a full examination because they could not examine the blood from Lam's decomposing body. David and Elisa Lam filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the Cecil Hotel following the tragic death of their daughter, Elisa Lam. Their attorney argued that the hotel was responsible for inspecting and addressing hazards that posed unreasonable risks to guests, including Elisa. They claimed the hotel had a duty of care to ensure the safety of its premises. The Cecil Hotel, however, countered the lawsuit by filing a motion to dismiss. Their legal team argued that the hotel had no reason to anticipate that anyone, including Lam, would be able to access the rooftop water tanks where her body was discovered. The hotel maintained that the tanks were located in a restricted area, inaccessible to guests, and protected by an alarm system. Santiago Lopez, a maintenance staff member at the hotel and the person who discovered Lam's body, provided detailed testimony that supported the hotel's argument. He explained the extensive effort required to access the water tanks, suggesting it would have been highly improbable for Lam to reach them unnoticed. According to Lopez, he had taken the elevator to the 15th floor, climbed a staircase to the roof, deactivated the rooftop alarm, climbed onto a platform where the tanks were located, and then ascended another ladder to reach the top of the main tank. Only after all these steps did he observe the open hatch and find Lam's body floating near the top of the water tank. Elisa Lam's mysterious demise was not the first to happen at the Cecil Hotel. In fact, the building's sordid past has earned it a reputation as one of the most supposedly haunted properties in Los Angeles. Since opening its doors in 1927, the Cecil Hotel has been plagued by 16 different non-natural deaths and unexplained paranormal events. The most famous death associated with the hotel, other than Lam's, was the 1947 murder of actress Elizabeth Short, aka the Black Dahlia, who was reportedly seen drinking at the hotel bar in the days before her grisly demise. The hotel has also hosted some of the country's most notorious killers. In 1985, Richard Ramirez, also known as the Night Stalker, lived on the top floor of the hotel during his monstrous killing spree. The story goes that after a murder, Ramirez would dump his bloody clothes outside the hotel and return half naked. Back then, the hotel was in such disarray that Ramirez's nude stunt barely raised an eyebrow. 6 years later, another murderous patron moved into the hotel. Austrian serial killer Jack Unterweger, who earned the nickname Vienna Strangler. With such a macabre history, one would think that the Cecil Hotel would soon be condemned. But actually, the building was recently granted landmark status by the Los Angeles City Council. The hotel was given the distinction because of the building's opening back in the 1920s, which is considered the beginning of the lodging industry in the United States. While an answer to the mystery behind the death of Elisa Lam remains unclear, the obsession surrounding that mystery has remained in the public consciousness ever since.